What's going to happen next is that once all that data goes into the laboratory, you receive usually an exocad viewer of the design of your prosthesis. And this comes on a very simple web link. You can watch it on your phone or on your laptop or your desktop. And here you're going to be able to view that bridge with and without the opposing. If there's adjacent teeth, you can take them off. And what you're really looking to do here is to ensure that you're happy with the bridge. At this point, the lab can advise you if they believe, if there are any particular issues, if they feel it is required. Okay, but in many instances, if the records have been good and you've followed those 6 scans and 6 photographs, the lab would be happy to go to final restoration. Okay, you also need to let us know if you wanted perhaps to have a titanium bar within the restoration. If you're happy for monolithic prosthesis, then that's fine. But it's a really good way of communicating with you what this design is going to be like. If you've opted for the iJig, it's very slightly different. So once the iJig goes out to you, you're going to screw it down in place on each of the implants, as you can see in image A. Once everything is screwed down, you're then going to lute it together, as you can see on image B on the top. So the two images at the top. Once it's then screwed, or once it's screwed down and luted together, you're then going to adjust and record the bite, which you can see on the middle A, the middle line of images. And if you need to, you can also reline it. So you can create a silicon indentation or impression of the new soft tissue if the iJig isn't fitting up perfectly. And then again, that's going to be sent back to the lab. It's going to be digitized, and a design is going to be sent out again using what we've just talked about in the exocad viewer. Just to look at some of the advantages of the Optisplint workflow. So the Optisplint allows you to remain in the digital world, but it does give this comfort of having an analog verification step. And many dentists do like that, especially if they're maybe transitioning into the digital world and they don't maybe yet trust a fully model-free workflow, something that we very much understand. So that added reassurance of that visual and physical cross-check really makes many dentists feel more comfortable. It also allows some options in terms of how you finally restore the restoration or the bridge. You can cement normal tie bases. You can use Passivity Plus if you just want to be absolutely certain of passivity, or in some cases you can actually go direct to the MUA via something like the vortex screw. So it does give you some options in there. This is an example of when the Optisplint is sent back into the laboratory and we lab scan it. So remember that the lab scanning process is going to be more accurate than you scanning with your iOS. And ultimately then the final bridge is, once we've confirmed the design, is manufactured and shipped, and this can be monolithic, as in so many of these cases with the Passivity Plus, as you can see, added, or it can also be in a tie bar or a taco type design with a titanium bar, also if that's what you prefer. So let's just look at a couple of case examples. So this is a dual arch reconstruction, and this particular gentleman had his temporary bridges in place, and as usual everything is healed, and we're at approximately 16 weeks from his date of surgery. And he's pretty happy with his temporaries in terms of bite and vertical and appearance, etc. And he has come in for one single appointment where we have used the ArchBridge workflow, so Grammetry ArchBridge. We have done the scans of his vertical or his bite, the 2 bridges in situ. We've removed the bridges. We've done the 360 of each bridge with the ArchBridge reverse scan body screwed into the temporary cylinders. We have then added the ArchBridge scan bodies to each of the MUAs and scanned that in the mouth, and then finished up with a soft tissue scan and photographs. And at his next visit, so in his second visit, we have fitted upper and lower final zirconia bridges that required 0 adjustment. So as long as the record is accurate at the start, we've got a good temporary bridge to give the laboratory a good head start. It is very, very possible to go straight to finish. Here's the case I showed briefly earlier on. This particular lady was a little bit pushed for time, and she travelled over 3.5 hours to come to the clinic. So we were really trying to reduce her burden in terms of chair time. So we had the lower restoration had already been completed in the previous year, and now we were looking forward to doing the upper. And as I've said, these implants were removed using a guided process, new implants placed. Patient was then wearing a temporary bridge. And these are her 6 scans. So again, this was Grammetry ArchBridge. Remember, this was a pterygoid case. Okay, so slightly different. And you can see that on the top left-hand side, we've got the temporary bridge out of the mouth with the reverse scan analogues in place, and that was scan 360. We've got our soft tissue scan in the top and the middle, showing all the 6 healing caps. We've got the bridge in situ, we've got our bite, we've got our opposing, and we've got our arch bridge scan bodies on the bottom left-hand side. So we've managed to create those 6 records with this is the scan sequence. So this is the bridge, the temporary bridge that she was wearing. This is the opposing. This is the soft tissue scan with the caps on the MUAs, which really helps. Okay, this is the scan body scan, very simple arch bridge, only takes a second or two, and this is the 360 bridge with the reverse scan bodies from the arch bridge kit. Always a little bit of a trickier scan to capture. Okay, so once we have all of that information, then the laboratory's in a position where they're able to then take all of that data and start to put it all together. And we end up in this situation. So this is an upper zirconia with a titanium bar and a lower monolithic zirconia. So the key considerations when selecting, what your preferred restorative protocols are, really what technology do you have available? If you have access to photogrammetry, then absolutely use it. It's a wonderful tool, but as I've said, there are some barriers to entry. But most of us have an iOS system available. And if you have an iOS system, that opens up 3 more workflows for you. There are also some clinical requirements to think about. What type of interface do you want? Do you want to go direct to MUA? Do you want to use a tie-based interface, be that a standard tie-based or Passivity Plus tie-based? And also whether you would like to think about potentially going direct to fixture. If you have to go direct to fixture, you're limited really to the iJig workflow. The other ones are all related to MUA solutions. And then you've got that commercial viability. What are your case volumes like? How much do you want to invest? Where are you digitally? Are you ready to take a step into the digital world and maybe build that trust in the process? We've created a little table to help with that selection process, which is available online. And this is just going to go through, again, the technology required, the type of scan body, whether it can go direct, what type of interface you're going to use, whether you want to include a bar, all of these things, and some of the equipment that's required. And our turnaround times to appointment workflow, which is really where a lot of these cases can sit. You're looking at a 15-day turnaround from the initial information coming into the final. 3 appointment workflow, remember you're going to add another visit. So you've got 10 working days to go to the try-in, and then another 10 days to go to final. And the iJig workflow, again, you're looking at another appointment. So 15 working days to create the iJig, so the design, the sectioned verification jig that comes out to you, and then another 10 working days to go either to try-in or too final. So the benefits of all of this for full arch: number one, there is massive savings to be done in terms of appointment time. This is better for you, your clinic, and also for your patients. And as long as you are diligent in terms of the records that you take at the start, that you follow the checklists, that you understand the process that you're following, then you really can, in many of these cases, do this very quickly in 2 appointments. The guaranteed passivity through Passivity Plus is a real winner. If you're nervous about ensuring that you've got passivity, this just takes away some of that worry, and it can be fitted to any of the pathways that I've discussed. Gives you some clarity where you can see, here are 4 pathways. I can choose the pathway that suits me for my practice, for the volume of work, for the equipment that I have, and really a little bit of comfort, maybe that you're working with laboratories who really know what they're doing with these full arch workflows. As I've explained in an earlier slide, the CAD and the CAM are critical, and how that information and data is dealt with, that is not something that every lab is going to be able to deal with at the same level. So understanding that there is expertise required there, and that just the data is not the end of the story. There are clear profitability aspects for you in practice. You're going to reduce chair time, and then you've got potential for all-in-one type packages from the laboratory, where things can be packaged and put together to make your cost base a bit more predictable. And ultimately, you've still got some flexibility. You can still stay in control in terms of how this work is dealt with. So if you have any questions, and that would be great, we'd be very happy to answer them. I hope that you've managed to get and glean something from it.